Hey, it's Michael again. It's been a while since I made a video myself. I've been just watching a lot of other people's videos and so forth. Anyway, come across, of course, if you do any search on Calvinism or anything like that on YouTube, you're going to come across this guy, Kerrigan Skelly. His channel is Refuting Calvinism, and he has invested quite a bit of time into these videos. And he appears to be a very smart guy, and his videos, very well organized. His thought process, what he's wanting to say, he's pretty well got it together as far as that goes. I'm watching. This is the first video I'm watching of him, which is 51 minutes. It's called Calvinist Confusion, and it's dealing with sovereignty. Anyway, I'm gonna take some notes and answer some questions, but I just wanted to kind of do this video as a somewhat of an introduction to show you where I'm going with this, because this is all part of my Why I Am a Calvinist series. So this is the guy I'm talking about. You can see his channel here and who he is. But anyway, he has made some comments that, well, first of all, let me just say, before I deal specifically with the details, I just want to say that listening to him talk, and most other people who disagree with Calvinism, the sense you get from them is well, I'll just tell you what my thoughts are, because, and I apologize, I don't want them to sound like I'm lifting myself up, or like I'm, prideful, arrogant, boastful, anything like that, because I'm not, or at least my intentions are not to be. But when you hear these people talk about the problems they have with Calvinism and the way Calvinism understands God from Scripture, they almost sound like children. And that, they'll say, I don't understand this, or I don't understand how that is, or I don't understand how this is. But yet, they will read the Scripture that teaches it, but then they'll turn around and say, well, I don't understand how this, says what Calvinism says it says. But they sit there and they read it, but they don't grasp it. So I think that might be some of the reason, because I question myself. It's like, Lord, if this is truly who you are, if this is your character, if this is how you have revealed yourself to us, then why is it that not every believer understands it? It's a quandary to me. I just, I don't know the answer to that. But when you listen to people as they interact with these doctrines and the scriptures that deal with these doctrines, it kind of comes forth that, we as mankind, we're finite beings, our minds are limited, and God has expressed in His Scripture that He is so far above us and beyond us. Yet, when you see people trying to interact and understand Him, it's like they forget that. They forget that fact. And so instead of approaching the Scriptures with first of all a presuppositional understanding that God is infinite and that He is greater than anything we will imagine Him to be or understand Him to be, instead they come to it thinking that God is more on lines with them, and that just as much as I can understand somebody else, maybe a historical figure or somebody I don't know, like, the President of the United States, or, the Queen of England, or, somebody like this, they approach it that way. They approach it like you can understand them that way. Now, Now, God knows that we're like that. God knows that we're limited. And that's why so many times in Scripture, He reveals Himself to us using terms that we understand. In theology, the theological term is anthropomorphisms, is that He will describe parts of Himself or His character or His actions in human terms. Saying like that God has arms and hands and things like, and eyes and things like this. But we know that God is a spirit. But anyway, there seems to be a lack of understanding that, first of all. And then the other thing seems to be that truthfully, if you're not a Calvinist, you're an Arminian. There's not really a logical gray area in between the two. If you fully understand the doctrines, you're either one or the other. But the problem is those who deny the teachings of Calvinism, really, for them to logically be honest with their own position, they have to be open theists. And let me explain why I say that. Mr. Skelly here made a mention talking about that God hates evil and God hates sinners, and he wants to make the point that why then doesn't God, well, for the sake of time, let me get into this in the next video because it's going to take some time to unpack. So, anyway, there's my introduction. Come back for the next one so I can finish this thought. Thank you.